Are you an arbitrage sports bettor who's dreaming of a calculator that's better than typey? Have I got something to show you? Check out this video. Welcome to The Advantage. I'm A-Train Bets, and I use my brain to make bets. And this video is kind of a hybrid because we're going to talk about how we do arbitrage at A-Train Station, but we're also just going to give you a few of the basics about arbitrage at the same time, because arbitrage is kind of the most basic top-down advantage sports betting strategy you can employ. A lot of people like it because the risk associated with arbitrage is mostly happening at the time you're placing the bets, with a little bit of risk on the back end. And I'll explain a little bit about why that's the case. So with arbitrage, what arbitrage is you're playing two bets that are the opposite sides of the same coin, the same bet. So we'll have an example here where we have a Freddie Peralta hits allowed over or under 4.5. We're going to play both sides of them, and those two bets, when combined, will lead to guaranteed profit, assuming you're able to A, make both of the bets at the books you intend to make them at, and B, the books honor those prices. So let's look at this one actually, just to explain what an arbitrage is. So here we have A-Train Station. Here's our Freddie Peralta hits allowed over or under 4.5. You can see at DraftKings, if I play the Freddie Peralta hits allowed under 4.5, this is a great play by itself. 17% calculated EV based on one of my favorite ranking strategies in terms of the market advantage. That's for another video. But you can see here, DraftKings on the under is giving me plus 120. So if I bet $100 there, I'll get 120 in return. Well, I can arbitrage that with the hits allowed over 4.5 in a number of places. You can see all these purple indicate where the arbitrage is. So if I had an account at Pinnacle, I could play that at plus 107. Right? So I can play that other side. So then if I bet $100 and that side wins, I get $107 back. Right? So now I play both of those. I'm guaranteed to get either $20 or $7 back if I played just $100 on both sides. But if I played a balanced amount, I can guarantee I'd get the same amount regardless of what happens. So arbitrage allows you to offset these bets and get back more than you put in to make the bets. That's beautiful, right? No wonder people love it. Granted, when I play just this DraftKings clearly here is an outlier line. This is the one that is off the rest of the market at that plus 120. That's the one, you can see why it's got so many arbitrage, because it's a crazy line. And it's probably not going to last very long. But if you play that one by itself, you've got a pretty good advantage to begin with. But if you arbitrage it, you lock it in up front. Now, the problem is that you're going to be locking it in with a corresponding negative EV bet. Now, we have other videos that talk about arbitrage in general, but I want to at least give you a little bit of the basics of the mechanics of what you're doing when you do an arbitrage. So if you want to learn more about arbitrages in general, got a bunch of videos that you can find on the YouTube channel. If I remember, I'll even link to them. But if you can, go check those out, and that'll teach you more about the arbitrage as a strategy. What we want to talk about here is arbitrage in A-Train Station, because we've recently introduced arbitrage functionality that goes way beyond those type-it-in calculators that you get at all the other sharp sports betting applications or odd screens. They love to have you type in stuff when we're like, hey, we can see the bets right here. Now, I'm sure when I refresh this bet's going to have gone away by the time I do this. Oh, it has not. Oh, look at that. All right, so let's get in that and see what's going on. So if I say, okay, DraftKings plus 120, I want to play that. So I'm going to click on that. And with my bankroll and stuff, the EV calculation would be 650. That's crazy. All right, so we're not going to play that. But also DraftKings would never let me play that much. But that's a separate scenario. Let's say we're going to hedge it with Pinnacle. Let's make up that we have a Pinnacle account. As soon as I click that at A-Train Station, what you see is an arbitrage screen that comes up. And that arbitrage screen is pretty darn smart. And the reason why is that we know that Anthony likes to play arbitrages for roughly $100. Anthony plays arbitrage for $100. Well, how do we know that? It's because in my settings, I have some arbs settings that say I want to do a default arb of $100 at minimum, right? A minimum $100, start there, we can adjust from there. Rounding the arb to the nearest dollar. So I don't like to play pennies in my arbs. I'm okay if it's a little bit off in terms of one side winning or another, because I would rather not make it painfully obvious that I'm arbitraging this, because the books don't get a memo. They don't get the, hey, Train is arbitraging this with Pinnacle. What they're going to know is that if I go in and bet, $113.42 or whatever it is, I am not going to have much cover there. They're going to be like, all right, this clown, clearly he's doing something. So they're going to know that I'm doing an arbitrage most likely. And so that will get you limited accounts in certain cases. Now in DraftKings, I'm already pretty limited. So it's pretty much going to be go and play at DraftKings, whatever I can, and then see what I can hedge it with at Pinnacle. And we're just going to use this as an example. I'm not actually going to play it. But in this case, I could say, you know what? Love this place so much, I'm willing to go $200 on that. You see what happens there? You see what happens? As soon as I put that 200 in, it updates at Pinnacle. This is everything that is updating. It updates at Pinnacle, and it shows me exactly what I need to play to offset it over there. And so I can say, okay, let's pretend I just went and placed this at DraftKings. Placed it for $200, placed, done, in, right? Then when I go to Pinnacle, I can go and say, you know what? The line's changed to Pinnacle. It's now 103. And you can see, to hedge it appropriately now, it updates to 217. Or I could say, you know what? It's actually 105 again, and it's 215, right? And so then you can see down here, the profit, I'm going to win if this side wins and I get this, say I get this placed at Pinnacle. We'll lock it in, right? So I place that in. And you can see I played 215 here, 200 there. Well, I'm going to win on this side 240, and I'm going to return 440 for a $25 profit. This side, I'm going to win 225.75, return 440.75, and I'm going to get a $25.75 profit. See, just kind of slightly different, but it's fine because at least I rounded to the nearest dollar. And if I bet a $200 and $250, nobody cares. And Pinnacle probably doesn't care if I'm arbitraging or whatever in the first place because they're sharp book. This is all kind of hypothetical in terms of the actual play itself. The play doesn't matter. By the time you watch this, it's going to be long gone. The game's probably going to be over by the time you watch this. You see here, we have an ARB percent of 6. And this is the kind of thing that you're going to see, especially in live betting. Now, you got to go super fast. Now, I'm going super slow right here. But you got to go super fast when you are doing live betting. But you can get 10% arbitrage at 20%. I've seen 50% arbitrages at times. It's crazy town, but you got to be able to get the bets in. And the last thing that you have to remember with arbitrage, I could have made these plays. But if I made these plays, DraftKings could come back in the back end and say, oh, that was an error. We didn't mean to offer that. So now they cancel this bet. And on Pinnacle side, they're going to honor that either way. And so you could win or lose that, but you're now at risk. Anytime somebody says arbitrage is risk-free sports betting, they are lying to you. That is bullshit. It is not risk-free. It's nice to have a profit locked in, but you have to make sure that those sports books honor the bets because you're actively targeting the ones most likely to not be honored by the books. That is a really important consideration that you need to understand. So this is something where we're really proud of this functionality that we have because it makes it as simple as possible to get to an arbitrage calculation and know exactly what you need to place on the other side. And it works with you. You see how we went through, and when we edited it and entered it at DraftKings, the Pinnacle stuff, we could still manipulate that and understand what we're doing with. Because the fact is that these markets are moving. They're flexible. Things happen. You go to the book, you're like, I can't get that. Now I got to go back here and figure out, okay, can I play somewhere else now? Right? So you've got to constantly be thinking about how do I react in this situation? This becomes even more important in the live betting. This is why it took us a while to unveil an initial live betting functionality in BrainStation. It's because we knew to do live betting right, we needed all this functionality at that level with that amount of interactivity built in from the beginning, or otherwise you were just going to see odds move and you weren't going to be able to do anything. Our goal with BrainStation is to always give you that path to executing something that makes you money, because there's so many odd screens out there that will just give you all these numbers, but you have to figure out what to do with them. Well, with BrainStation, we're helping you on that journey. We're helping give you that path to knowing, oh, I need to make this play at DraftKings, and I need to make this play at Pinnacle, and I need to do this change because the odds move this way, and now you can adjust the numbers. And so that's why we do it and why we're elevating the game for sharp sports betting, because we're giving you the tools that work with you and help propel your betting in ways nothing else does. So let's go and look. And I just want to, let's cover these settings a little bit. I was too excited on that play because it stayed, and that doesn't usually happen very, very much as that place stuck around. So it gave us an opportunity to go through that example. So that was great. But so if I wanted to do the ARB stake, $100 minimum, that's fine. You can also do a maximum if you prefer. We're going to get an average in there at some point as well. You can round the ARB near to the nearest penny if you want to. So let's do that for now. Let's do a round ARB to the nearest penny. I'm going to save that setting. I'm going to go in here, and we have this positive EV pregame screen that you can select two-way, and it's going to give you arbitrage opportunities. So that's all I have here, is I'm looking for two-way line opportunities that are above a minimum EV of 0%. So any arbitrage that's out there. And if I don't have any with my current chart books right now, we can do this. This is not a good time of day to be looking for arbitrages, but hopefully we'll find a couple things. So here's one. We can go in here and we can see bet DSI. This is probably the outlier line. You could see it highlighted with an 8% edge. That's pretty attractive. And so we could go in and say, okay, let's do this. And then let's arbitrage it with the bet online that I also have an account at. And we can come in and say, okay, here's what we're looking at. We've got bet DSI playing the away on this Strasbourg, Alsace, and Lille OSC, whatever the heck those are. Soccer, presumably. I guess French soccer. And so you can come in here and say, you know, that plus 110, I think I'm going to be able to get, this is bet DSI, so they might take a little bit more than some. I'm going to try to go for $200 on that one. You see the updates over here. And then you can go in and you can see, all right, this is what I should play to the penny on this, 205.88. You could say, all right, well, I know I can get the 200 in and bet DSI. I'm just saying this hypothetically, right? I'm going to go to bet online first, and I'm going to take this plus 104 and say bet online limited me to $150, 150, not 152, 150 bucks. Now I know to offset it perfectly, I can go to bet DSI and say 145.71. All right, fine. So I place that bet. Now at bet DSI, I get over there. Oh, I was wrong. They limited me to 125. Fine. So I did 125. I put in what I could, place it. Now what happened? Now I'm at a little bit of risk. I could either win $31 at Bet Online, or I could lose $12.50 at Bet DSI. I still have an expected profit of $8.43, but I could win or lose a little bit. Now, that's kind of a bad case scenario, but that's the kind of thing that will happen in arbitrage. You have to be able to react to it and then say, okay, what's the best thing to do here? Well, you could say, well, I got what I could, wasn't as much as I wanted. I'm a little bit at risk. I'm cheering for the home team. And that's the kind of thing that's going to happen in arbitrage all the time, especially in this world where you're going to get limited. Again, I want to show you the mechanics of it with the tool, and you can develop your strategies independently of that. So that's the key, is you want to be, when you're doing arbitrage, the best plan is generally first play the plus EV play first. So when you see it at BrainStation, you always see this, right? We've talked about, I had a plus EV play here at BetDSI, 8% play. Once I had that, I should have played that first instead of going to Bet Online first. And I should have done that for two reasons, actually, because at BetDSI, that's actually where I'm more likely to get limited. I know that based on the way BetDSI operates, they're more likely to limit me to something $125. Bet Online is more likely to take my action. So what I should have done is I should have gone in here at Bet DSI, done plus 110. Okay, I'm going to go arbitrage. As soon as I click here, it automatically goes to the arbitrage screen. And we're also going to be able to do the same kind of functionality with parlays. You're going to see a video on that very soon as well. But here I should have gone in, and I should have gone in to Bet DSI and said, okay, $125. I placed that one first. Now I can go to Bet Online and say, okay, 128.68, that's gone in. I put it in for exactly that, hit the place button, and now we're locked in. We're going to make $8.82 or $8.83 in profit, and we're going to be locked in. And so that's the kind of thing that if you understand the mechanics of how this works and how fast, you see how fast that was for me to be able to go in, use the station, track my bet with the arbitrage, and adjust to the kinds of things that are happening. And so it's pretty basic functionality, but where we go the extra mile is it's fully integrated with BrainStation, because most of the calculators out there, you're just like, all right, here's the odds on the first one, type. Here's the odds on the second one, type. And then you're trying to place it, and then you're trying to track it somewhere, you're trying to do all this stuff. Here, we're like, click, enter, good. Enter, good. Done. And that's what we want to do, is we, like we have always said, next 5 minutes, next $5. We're always trying to help you execute that process correctly first, but also quickly, fast, because we know that when you get through this and you execute a good bet, there's more bets to make. How many other things were on this this positive EV screen that we could have gone and done? There's several arbitrages out there right now that I could have gone in. And if I can go faster, this is the kind of thing that makes BrainStation really worthwhile. I know it's expensive, but it's going to be something that you get so many more plays in. You're going to pay for this because of how much faster you're going to be able to find these arbitrages and make those plays if you want to do this. Now, I definitely would say that arbitrages, even if you're primarily a positive EV bettor like I am, I don't typically go to arbitrages and say, I'm going to go do some arbitrage betting right now. A little bit maybe more in the live betting, but it can be very challenging. what I think arbitrage should be as a part of anybody's strategy. If you're a positive EV bettor, here's when you want to play the arbitrage. One is when it's at 2 books, you know you can get down a reliable amount, even if it's a predictable limit, but as long as you can get down a reliable amount, that's helpful. And 2, when you can't tell where the EV is. If you're looking at a thing and you see an arbitrage, you're like, there mathematically must be expected value on this. I just don't know which side it's on, because that happens sometimes. You just don't have enough faith in your read of the market. Both sides are kind of a little bit off of where you think the truth is. That's a great time to bet them both. Just knock them out. Both sides have EV, whatever it is. Those are the kinds of situations. Use it opportunistically, because you think that there's the best way to maximize your return on investment that way. And that, I think, is probably the couple reasons why I'm going to personally play arbitrage. But a lot of people just have a different risk tolerance than I do, and they would rather have more profit locked in, even if it comes at the expense of hedging with things that are not plus EV plays on their own. So that's really the key to this video, is really walking you through, giving you those basics of how arbitrage is entered. And we'll have other videos where we can show how in detail we track that. We're still building out some of the functionality to show all of the calculations and all that. So we'll cover that in a separate video. But when it comes to entering arbitrage, there's no other tool on the planet that gives it to you as efficiently and as effectively and works with you interactively the way BrainStation does. So if you are an arbitrage bettor and you're not using BrainStation, you are leaving money on the table. And so for now, this train is leaving the station. Until next time, save the units for the bros and do your betting like the pros. Thanks for watching.